Hi, I'm joined now by Deputy City Manager Lynanne Windsor, and we're going to talk a little bit about the water situation. So there's been some confusion, but basically just explain to us what's the situation with the water from Petty Harbour and Long Pond.
So currently we are experiencing elevated levels in manganese in both the water supply at Petty Harbour Long Pond and throughout the distribution in localized areas. So that's the current issue, is that some of our samples are showing manganese at higher levels than is acceptable.
So what is manganese?
Manganese is a naturally occurring element. It is a metal. It is part of your essential diet. But in some of the high levels that we're seeing throughout the distribution system, it's given us reason, I guess, to ask people not to drink the water if the water is discolored.
Right, so on a regular day, we would expect when we test water from Petty Harbour or from Bay Bulls or anywhere that there would be some level of manganese in it, right?
Yes, that's correct. There's manganese in all our water supplies consistently.
Right. And so the issue is when it's a higher level of manganese, it turns the water cloudy.
That's right. Higher levels of manganese turns the water, gives the water a color, usually a brown or yellowish color.
Okay. So we've asked people who are serviced in the Petty Harbour Long Pond service area, who get their water from there, not to drink the water if it's cloudy. I'm not sure that I would drink cloudy or brown water anyway, but to be clear, we're saying don't drink it if it is colored, because the level of manganese is a little higher. And what's Health Canada saying about infants, and what's the instruction that they're giving us there?
So basically, if your water runs clear, it's perfectly safe for everyone in your household to drink. That would include the infants as well. But if your water is running with a color, it has a high color in it, then infants who are being formula fed, so having formula mixed with some tap water, Health Canada recommends that you find an alternative source of water, so bottled water or picking water up from one of our stations to use for that infant.
Okay, and we'll provide you with a list on the website now. We'll put those all up there so everybody can see on the page where our water stations are located. And I suppose if you're breastfeeding your baby but supplementing with water, same story, give them a bottle of water.
Yes.
So can I boil it out?
No, unfortunately in this case you can't boil it out. Boiling the water is for when you have bacteria in the water, so the boiling will actually kill the bacteria. But as this is a metal, manganese, boiling it doesn't remove it.
So you've been observing this in the system for a little while now, but we just came out this week with an announcement. So what's been going on that sort of led up to where we are today?
Yeah, this issue has been a bit complicated because it hasn't been consistent with our sampling or even with the calls we've received from residents. It's shown, some areas have shown up as a high level of manganese one day, and then the next day it's gone. And so it's made it complicated to try and determine exactly what was going on in the distribution system. But over the past week or so, as more information has been gathered, this is the issue that we are experiencing. The elevated levels of manganese are causing cloudy or colored water in certain areas of the distribution system, and we did want to get out and make sure that everyone was aware that this is what we've determined the issue to be, and to take any action, corrective action necessary.
Do we know why all of a sudden there's higher levels of manganese in the water than normal?
We don't know why exactly we have higher levels of manganese in the water, but they are higher at the water source, and we believe that the higher levels of manganese are also being deposited in the distribution system, and then as the water is moving through the system, coming off the distribution. Okay. So that's why it's affecting some areas and not others, because it would depend on the flow of water going through the water mains that are in your street.
And I guess that would sort of explain why you can turn the tap on one day and it would be brown, and then 2 hours later, clear.
Yes,
People are not consistently having brown water.
exactly. If the water goes through a distribution system and is at a higher velocity than normal, and it takes some of the manganese off the walls of the pipe, then that will go through the system. So it could affect some houses at that time, but within the next day, that'll be after passing through, and there wouldn't be an issue there anymore.
I know it's been a really busy day, busy week here at at our treatment facility and here at the lab for our staff. What are you doing about it? What are we as an organization doing right now to try and correct this?
Well, we're in consultation with consultants and water experts across the country, and we're trying to find solutions, both short-term and long-term solutions. The long-term solution will eventually be adding additional treatment to the Petty Harbor Long Pond Water Treatment Facility, but that's a long-term solution. So in the short term, we're investigating ways to clean the distribution system. So we're in conversations with consultants and contractors who do this work regularly to see if we can engage them to start that process here sooner rather than later.
And I guess we'll be in a position once we come up with a plan to share that with the public.
Absolutely. As soon as we get more information and get some direction in how we're going to try and solve this problem, we would certainly share it with the public.
Thank you very much for taking a few minutes to help explain that to us. If you have any questions, you can certainly share them with us on Twitter, Facebook, or go directly to our Access St. John Center and leave a message on our app if you're having this issue, because the staff here would like to know where the spots are. Thanks.